since 2017, 2018.
I like to call it guilt. I like to call it guilt-free. Like pretty much every Iron Age creator I know, and at this point I know a lot, want to put out a guilt-free story that people could just have fun with.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think a lot of it revolves around freedom. You know,
it's just more getting to the basic. It's getting more to the basic storylines without having, you know, a propaganda message shoved in your face.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Dicebag Games, good to see you, sir.
Hail Dicebag.
We just
Dicebag, what's going on? Dude, we had a great interview with Dicebag. Oh, I'm sorry. Anime Night, what was that?
We just want to enjoy stuff that makes us happy.
Yes. Well, guys, I actually have to sign off because my phone is down to 15% and my iPad's charging right now, so I'm kind of down to the dying point.
Tom, I can sympathize with you because I've been on the phone for the last 5 years, so I can sympathize.
Yeah. Before you go, I've got to say this because you're here on stream. I've been wanting to say this to you for a while because I've seen you in my streams. Oh, hail the Highlandian. I had to say it, man.
Hail the Highlandian.
Tom, it's awesome to be here with you, man. It's great to put faces with names.
Yeah, this is actually my first live stream.
That's awesome, dude.
Oh, cool. Well, I'm glad I can help you. Yeah, I'm glad I could help you break your cherry in that regard. And get a chance to. Hey, look. You want to know what my first stream was? I went on the Dank stream with John De La Rose. Okay, and I was terrified, and I was trying to keep up with the manic way he runs his show, and I was just wanting to promote the book that I was published in. Me and Ryan Williamson. And but after that, it just got a lot easier, dude. And I want to thank you especially for a lot of your support. You've been a big supporter of mine. I very much appreciate that, dude.
Yes, you're very welcome, John. And Royce, it was good to finally see you face to face too. And some of you guys, AC, I just looked up your book, and that's in the next query for me to get in my next book lot. But
thanks,
right
man.
now I'm that's in the next round.
Well, dude, hit me up on Twitter. I'll follow you and we'll stay in touch and all that, you know.
Sure.
Yeah, it was nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you guys. All right. You all have
Take
to take
care
now. God bless.
God bless.
Daniel from Whimsy Land, Mr. Daniel P. Riley, good sir. Most of us started writing because we want stories that are fun, and that is true. And that's something I've come to regard my book as the beta readers have given me feedback and reviews, is that it is a crowd pleaser. My dad always said, you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So I wanted my debut book to be that kind of thing, to leave whoever read it feeling like you didn't waste your time, you had a good time, and it was worth investing the time in.
Yeah. Some people don't do that, and that's so good for you, man.
Right. You can see some authors will get in there and they're trying very much to, and there's nothing wrong with this. They're trying to aim for the stars with it, right? And some of it can come across as a little pretentious because everybody's basically trying to be the next Lord of the Rings or the next Brandon Sanderson, and I'm just trying to be the first me. Yeah. And I know that makes sense. Please don't. I hope nobody ever compares me to another author, because that is like I don't want to say the death, but like that to me is almost reductive to your own work.
I'm going to compare you to 305.
What?
The actor equivalent is typecasting.
To 305 authors. That's my goal now.
Oh God.
I have to read 305 authors. I will build a website. John A. Douglas is like these authors.com. And I will there'll just be a list, and I will add a new author every week.
Oh my God.
Do it.
Yeah, Resident One says, I want a story that isn't evangelizing at me, just giving me an entertaining story. Worry about a message coming across last. Yeah, that's another part of it too. And it's very hard to put an effective message that works your politics or your personal beliefs into a story. Some authors can pull it off, a lot can't. I'll give one example. Terry Goodkind, he has written a lot. He wrote a lot of fantasy novels. He was libertarian, and he tried to weave his libertarian Anne Rind style politics into the fabric of his fantasy world. Whether or not that, and it really kind of didn't sink in because it was clashing with the type of world that he built. And it the times when it really came up, it felt very out of place. But he tried.
There's a lot of good kind quotes, I believe, that are pretty like, right? Like, because I think he got angry a lot too about that. Like he was trying to do that, and people disagreed.
I think writers should worry about the moral of the story, not the message of the story.
Yeah,
that's a better way to approach it.
Exactly.
Well, in Goodkind's case, he had this particular thing. He was pretentious. Like, he thought that his ideas for the themes of his books were a lot more important than the genre he was writing. And he kind of thought fantasy was a bit of a, I don't want to say a denigrated genre, but he thought he was better than the genre, right? Yeah. So,
that's what I'm talking about.
You know, he thought he didn't even like being called a fantasy author. He didn't like his books having fantasy covers. He thought his themes were just that much better. And it's like, dude, you're a fantasy author.
Yeah.
And then there's some of the content. My gosh, that's a whole nother topic for another day.
To compare and contrast, let's, the father of modern fantasy, which is Tolkien. Let's compare and contrast. And they were not called, it wasn't called fantasy at the time. It was called fairy story, right?
Yeah.
And it was appalling to all the university elites that a man of his credibility was writing a fairy story. But not just a fairy story that was rooted in English, not British, English tradition. Okay? And it was, and still to this day at the college he taught at, they still hold their smug noses up to what Tolkien did.
Which is ridiculous.
It's insane. Well, at least up to my most recent, reviewing of a lot of this stuff. But it was what college? It wasn't Cambridge. It was Tolkien people, help me out. What college did he teach at? I can't. The university. And he was actually he taught philology, which is something that has been broken down into about 10 different. Oxford, thank you. Oxford. Wait, is it Oxford?
Well, hold on. Let me check.
I think it was Oxford.
Andrew Campbell has a sentence happen. Says, I suggest John doubles the adverb count in his book. Sorry, buddy. The polish pass is over. You got in too late. The door is closed. Indy didn't get his hat, and he got his hand smashed. Sorry, buddy. I'm not adding anything else to that book except for a map and a cover. And that's all I have.
What'd you hit your head with?
Okay. What? Shout out. I see Hojo just jumped in the chat. Shout out to Hojo for him jumping into that Irwin shit today. John, I still blame you for that.
Hojo was good.
Yeah.
Dude. Yeah, he was good at it.
That was the most entertaining thing today. Like,
good shit.
Oh my God.
Hojo went after it. Like, I tried to warn him too. Like, dude, it's just wait, because it is just starving for attention.
Yeah,
dude, I had to calm you down. I was the guy calming you down, and then I got to a point where I was just like, "Fuck it." I'm just gonna every time I'm just gonna be like, "But have you seen the clip?"
I think I liked every single one of those I saw.
Dude, I saw that. It was great. Thank you.
Yeah, and after a while, I just started like responding with gifts because I was like, okay, he's not intelligent enough to go with a conversation.
He's mentally ill dude that really likes attention.
Yeah, so it's like I'm not gonna waste brain cells on him.
Yeah, no, me neither. Hang on, just a second.
How many?
I've been picking my fights more carefully.
That's the only fight that is that, and I didn't even pick that fight. I got added into that fight. I got added
Oh,
that
I
fight.
hate it when I
tagged
get
in.
added to a fight without context. I have to go back and like to the fucking beginning of the thing
I
just
see
to get an idea what am I getting myself into.
that I got added into this fight like 2 days after John started some shit somewhere else, so I still blame John for this. And then I get added in by Lord Otter, and I don't blame Lord Otter for this. He was just like, no, our community's gathering around here. And then like he was like, oh, I know about all about this guy. He blah blah blah, whatever. On the stream, I'm like, here's where I got added in. And this is what you said right here. And he goes, well, yeah, but you have to scroll back further. I was like, the fuck I do. I said, I didn't get added in any further. I was like, this is what we're talking about. No, but if you just scroll up, I said, I don't need to scroll up. And the guy had, he had nothing he could do. I don't need to scroll up. This is where I got mentioned. This is what you said. This is where you first spoke about me. Let's talk about that. Well, but if you scroll up, I'm not going to, and I don't need to because that's not relevant to what we're talking about. And again, when you let these people do their thing on Twitter, they can't do anything. When you get them here in a live format and you can go back and forth in almost real time, I have it immortalized on my YouTube, and that is the one stream that will never, and I promise it will never go members only. It will never go private. I want to make sure that I go and I download it to make sure that it like if it ever goes down, I can reshare it. It will never, because that is the one thing that people can go, and when this guy starts in it, other people who get lost in the Twitter trap, right? That they're going to use all that Twitter tactic stuff. I go, guys, you don't have to take him seriously. Here's the live stream where he admitted he was a liar. He said he was okay with it. He didn't just admit it. And that is why I wanted to do what I did, is for people like that. If I ever come across somebody else who's going hard at the people who have gathered over in my like Gilded or anything like that, if I ever come across another, I might do another one, but it would have to take a special case for me to do that, because this was a special case. But yeah, that was nuts all day.
Real quick, Resident One, I am giving you permission. Yes, sir. The Shill Shank Redemption. Yes, anyone watching, whether if you're in the chat, you're watching on the replay, anyone here in the room itself, my channel, I'm not going to rename it to the Shill channel, but always feel free to shill your shit on my channel. You will see me come up here and pull out books and shill them, okay? Because I'm an indie author myself, and part of the reason that I created my channel was as a way for situations like today. My Twitter got taken down. My YouTube is still here, that I could communicate with everybody. It was a way to, elevate my brand. It was a way for me to work on my public speaking, which arguably I'm marginally better at. And it was a way to work on being camera shy, which is the reason I didn't make stuff on YouTube years and years ago, even though I wanted to. Okay. And I started sniping up about the culture war stuff. But as time went on, I noticed the lack of synergy between the big voices on YouTube and the smaller creators that need the signal boost. For what little my 1,000 sub channel is, I open it up to anybody to shill your stuff on my channel to my audience, to whoever is watching, to whoever someone can look at it and say, oh, I'll review this book. I say, this is what I liked about it. This is what could use work on. I don't use like a rating system, right? Because generally I enjoy most of what I read. And someone can look at it and say, okay, that sounds like a book I want to read. That sounds like something that would interest me. I made these live streams, the Author's Outpost, the Signal Boost, so that people who make comics, people who have indie fantasy books, people who have channels, people who make music, so that you guys have a place to come to, another platform that you can use to help get the word out for your project, your indie project. And it happened about the same time as the Iron Age started rising up. And all of this is kind of building. And it's still building. Erwin can't see that because he's stupid. Mm-hmm. This is all building something. He can call it a circle jerk and a cult all he wants. But real, recognize real. We are authentic. We are genuine. And we know what we're doing. And okay, I get to see how this cheats now. Ooh. You see how what 20 years of marriage will do.
That's how you know you're onto a good idea too, when like delicious food gets plopped down in front of you as you're like preaching.
Where's the intermissions screen? Pop on.
Yeah.
Yes.
John,
it tastes like.
Sir.
Yes.
I got to bounce, good sir, because the alarms chime early, and I actually have to be at work early tomorrow. Tomorrow is safety day, so I got to catch all the guys as they come in. But good sir. One, I'm fucking glad to see that you're growing. It's awesome. It is an honor to know you, sir. Quit being a bitch. Get that book out so I can have you on my show. Like that's the other side of this. And
it won't be much longer.
Well, good.
It won't be much longer. I need to. I meet with the cover artist tomorrow.
Okay. Give me some lead time on it. But yeah, let me know. But man, dude, just love the hell out of you, man. Love the hell out of you. Keep doing what you're doing, dude. Don't stop. Don't quit. Like you're one of those guys that I look at and I'm like, oh, this guy is going to surpass my channel in a way, and I'm gonna have to figure out how to keep up. I feel that in my bones, dude. Like, and there are a few channels that I feel like that with. Yours is one of them.
And that's weird because I've always kind of looked at you as kind of the leader of a lot of this in a lot of ways. But you know, I think we're building something good, Royce. All of us are, and Irwin's aside, the Iron Age is really something special, and I hope it stays that way.
I don't disagree. Well, thank you so much for having me. It was awesome to be here with everybody. Some faces I recognize, some faces I don't. Hopefully I didn't take up too much air out of the radio waves.
No, I didn't. It's not like I had a plan for this. I'm just trying to monetize a bad situation, and this has wound up being a pretty good day for it.
There you go, man. Well, good night, everybody, and God bless. I gotta get going.
See you, man.
He's got to feed the goats.
You have a good night, Royce.
There's no fucking.
Nice cut off.
You got enough.
He's thinking I'm going to bring him back on. No. Night, Royce.
Night, Royce.
Oh man.
So the sentencing is that strictly tied to we have to pick something to make you watch?
It's whatever you want, honestly.
Okay.
It's whatever you want. I don't care.
I'm gonna sentence you not as JVP but as John from HR. Right? I've called you into the HR office, and you failed to abide by corporate language guidelines, and you hurt feelings. So
sounds like me.
We're gonna sentence you to 50 hours of soft skill training, and you need to hand over the souls of your children. Regular corporate contract stuff. It is what it is, but that's your sentence.
Let me write that down. 3 souls.
I like this.
I get to keep the dogs, though, right?
Oh yeah, well, the dogs are a liability, but as a corporation, we can't take that on.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, yeah.
I'm gonna bounce as well too. Thanks everyone. And John, thanks for having me on your stream, man. You really are a warrior out there. You're a guy who's gonna swing, and I like that. I like you so.
I'm just a guy slinging my bullshit out there, man. It really is just how I've been online for a long time.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are like that, and really, it's just that simple. If you're a type of guy that'll swing, I'm like, okay, that's my kind of guy. So, yeah. Take care, everyone.
All right, see you.
JVP.
Bye.
Thanks, man. Oh, guys, I'm gonna go back to that tweet and see how it was doing because. That ain't where I was at. This was quite an interesting, especially this is one of the ways that I managed to grow my Twitter account, right? When I notice that something has gotten like about roughly over 5,000 views, odds are, and it's gotten a lot of shares, odds are other people are going to share. If I notice a account with a big follow number shares it, right? I stick my YouTube, I stick my channel thing down there in the following tweet. so that anybody who sees it and kind of like, oh, I agree with this guy, they'll see that, they'll sub. I've gotten a lot of subs. At least half of the subs on my channel have come from that tactic right there. And that's one of the little mental strategies that I've kind of applied. Also, knowing what corners of Twitter get easily triggered also helps. Because why do you think Gary and them put Miles Morales as Miles Morales so often? Because it is so easy to rile that part of the internet up. And now, especially with monetization of being tied to people engaging with your tweets, man, that's big. I actually sat in on a space, a Twitter space, or declaration of memes, and a couple other big follower accounts. We're giving some insight and advice into actually how to grow that engagement, and where to tweet and how to tweet, and what to do with that. It's an interesting little strategy that I've kind of figured out over the years, especially now monetization tied to it. It's a little extra pocket change you can make. I guess I'm gonna have to work towards monetizing this one, but I did it before I could do it again. And the funny thing is, I posted this. This is just a repost of what I did on a previous. I did this last year, and it went huge, right? I said, let me try it again. And sure enough, it just went off. I'm like, this is ridiculous how this flies off like that. It's stupid.
Where does it say that? Is this versions?
Yeah. And if you notice, and I noticed this last year, and there's always something rooted in the truth about it. I mean, look at these shows.
Oh, sure.
And they are all very noticeably, they look like they could be from the same show, right? It's like that Rock tweet where they said, this is from 4 different movies, and it's him in a brown shirt in a jungle. There's no discernible difference between those shots. And,
it's like the Witcher filter.
Yeah, a little bit. Like they all look the same.
It's just like, it's almost like they're using the same costume, concept, everything.
Yeah.
They're even doing the layouts for the backgrounds similar too.
I mean,
like they
at
all
least,
look in a forest.
Yeah, at the very I found some that did look a little alike, but you could do this with different shots, and they still kind of had the same vibe. And Amazon has do what?
It's the clothing too, because the clothing gives it away as well. This is, and as you said, this is 4 different shows. Two of the pictures, they almost look alike, just shot in like a different part of a forest.
Yeah.
Because one forest looks like awesome and everything, and then you got this bland looking thing. You could still see the similarities.
It's almost like they use the same costume department.
Yep.
Well, it's not even just that. They don't even get creative about creating different cultures in these stories.
Right.
They could change up the layouts of the costumes and everything to make it more distinguished to the cultural of who they're representative.
That's true.
And what irks me, I hate this. And when I watch fantasy, I like fantasy to be, unless it's something a little more grimdark and more realistic, like say Game of Thrones, I like fantasy to have vibrant colors. That's just me. I'll show an example. I'll switch over to some of the art that I have made of my characters. This is my book's main character, Ragoth. Goes by Rags. Look at the vibrant colors. This is a neutron bore piece. Dude is a fantastic artist. I can't thank him enough for this piece. And then I'll switch over to the group's heavy, Mora. So, there we go. Vibrant, colorful, right?
Definitely grabbing my attention. I want to learn about this character.
Mora is a veteran adventurer. She's a former arena champion, a mercenary. And at the time she comes into the book, she's kind of world weary. She's done with, going on adventures as a profession. But she's down on her luck and she needs the gold. So she gets hired to escort the other 3 characters who are, novice adventurers, and she's kind of got this exasperated, I'm sick of this shit attitude about the entire thing, because she's, from her perspective, she's escorting 3 snot-nosed newbies, across the continent. And, I'm old enough to have come from a time when the heavy of the group, being a woman, kind of an Amazonian statuesque woman, was still kind of a novelty. So to me, it's still, a novelty. And so that's what I wanted to do. I like making atypical characters. That's why she's not a minotaur. She's what's called an auric. They're a subspecies of minotaur. That's why her head is a human head instead of a cow's head.
Nice.
Let me pick another one. Let's see.
But yeah,
well,
fantasy being colorful is kind of like magic in general being colorful.
Do I not have Ani on here? I don't. This is one of the main characters, Denny. Now you'll notice his dress is very drab, but he belongs to this. He belongs to this sect of religious workers known as the Unexalted Faith. They essentially take humility to a religious extreme, where they're humble servants and goodwill workers at heart. So, their clothing is going to be, earth toned and not extravagant. So it makes sense for his character, correct?
Yeah, it does.
Correct, Miss Carol. Colors help set the tone for the book. And I got that with
I like the mystery around this character. It like paints like a conflict. He doesn't know what's going on, and the lighting shows it. It's done beautifully. Like, it reflects off his face, the sorrow eyes.
Oh yeah,
it speaks volumes.
Oh yeah, this artist is very, very good to work with. And I got her to do this. This is, of all the art pieces I've ordered, Denny is the one she nailed the most perfectly. This is 100% how I see this character in my head. Because Denny, remember what I said about atypical characters? Denny, what are elves usually in fantasy, right? They're usually hunters. They're using magic, things like that. Denny is what's known as arc blind, which means he can't use magic. He's a servant, which means he's a pacifist. He doesn't know how to use magic. He doesn't fight. And he's even referred to in the text as helpless. And he is kind of helpless. The only thing the only thing he can do is just be there. And so, I won't say what else, his role in the story is. I don't want to give any spoilers or anything away, but, he ends up being a very good emotional center for the story, and foil for Rags, who is one of his friends. So, but you get what I'm saying. Like, this is the kind of stuff I like in fantasy. I like the vibrant colors. So, like the look of stuff in Warcraft, things like that.
Yeah.
That's what I like. Well, then you go back to this, and it looks so washed out and so, muted.
Where's the fun? Where's the fun?
Right.
It's lacking fun, imaginative. Like, I want to feel like I am there, but here it's just like, oh, this is just this looks like some people just threw it together and called it a day.
Yeah.
I mean, I just keep thinking of that series that was on years ago called Merlin. And it's just like, they don't look much different than those old TV series.
Yeah.
Fantasy ones. And I'm like going,
it looks low rent. When I first
saw it, it just looks like that.
As cheesy
why?
As her team was. Oh, go ahead.
You know why? Because they're all chasing after Game of Thrones. They're all trying to be Game of Thrones. They're overly serious, even when they occasionally tell a joke. It doesn't come across as too genuine because they just don't have that sense of humor. They're trying to set it up with, a tone that's inconsistent with what you think it should be.
And they do it poorly.
Yeah.
All of it. So
they don't have a lot of respect. And I said this when I last talked about Rings of Power. I really should have done videos on that and grew my channel a little bit. But man, I could not be asked to watch that fucking show. I really couldn't. I got 3 episodes into Wheel of Time, and I just said, this is kind of boring, and it's only hitting some of the high points of the book, which I only read the first book, and I'm hearing a lot of mixed things, mostly negative. Carol Brown says, Game of Thrones is overrated. We were there for the dragons and the Dragon Lady, and we're disappointed. Yeah. I mean, the political intrigue was good. That was, to me, I really actually like that. The problem is, once the show, of course, everybody knows, once the show passed up where the books were, they didn't have anything to work with but Cliff Notes, and it just did not work.
Yeah, I saw this a lot in the music industry, like the same thing that's happening with Game of Thrones here. You get one bombshell that comes out of left field and like does like this particular idea very well, and it's usually somebody who really cares about their idea, like George R.R. Martin, like he's like an old man. He's been writing his whole life and stuff, probably thinking of this the whole time, and everybody tries to follow the coattails and just like look at a few aspects of it, like the washed out color and stuff, and like the dark lighting, like even the costumes kind of look like they're trying to rip off Game of Thrones a little bit. And like the problem is they never do it like correctly. And then by the time somebody does it correctly, what they're doing is they're just like ripping off an idea accurately. They're doing somebody else's idea well, and then everybody's so relieved that this thing is done well that they tend to just like support it. You know what I mean? I've seen that with music. Like you get 24 generic new bands that come through, and then all of a sudden one good one, it's still generic, but all they did was this idea well. And like there's very few that actually like start that trend. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, they do the same thing like with a lot of the art galleries and stuff around the areas too, because honestly, if you are different than their current, because like here in Richmond, we got a lot of contemporary art, and they will not allow any other kind of art forms into the galleries, or all of them at all. So it's really like all of them are political messages. You go in these galleries, you're going to see a lot of Black people on the walls, like art. You're going to see all of that all over and everything, all of these different galleries, and they're all the same. So they keep like other artists who has idea, different views and stuff out and everything. And the marketplace is, you can't get in the gallery, your talents never get exposed. It's the same thing in the graphic design industry too. You can't get in, even if you have the skill sets and everything like that and all. They are hiring on their little knit circles, and they're not letting anybody else in, even if you have a skill for it and all, because they're not even reviewing your application for anything. They're literally sending you an automatic message right away saying that they have other candidates looking at.
Yeah.
And all. So they have it all closed tight off where if you are an artist and you have a different way of doing things and all, because even on Twitter, when you look up the word art, the first thing you're going to get is two gay people kissing.
Yeah.
You're not going to get much any other art. You're not going to get nature. You're not going to get birds. You're not going to get like any other kind of art that doesn't have a message or whatever on the front page or whatever and all. You have to like really dig for it if you want to find other source of art out there besides the LGBTQ and all those other people and stuff. Because literally, you're just not going to get it and all. And so you got all these artists who have talent that are out there, but they can never get seen on social media. And then they also can't get in the galleries. They can't get in the art galleries, just doing traditional art.
Yep.
And it's a shame. I'm not as much in the art community other than, I'm an art enjoyer. I have whatever talent I have in writing is completely inversed when it comes to arts. Like if I try to draw something, it would be utterly laughable. I'll put it that way. If I stopped right now and dedicated the rest of my life to trying to be a better artist, I could be marginally okay. And that's about the best. My dysgraphia messes with my eye-hand coordination.
But they'll hire the marginally okay artists over the actually gifted and talented artists. They will do that
It's what they do in music and in the publication industry. They're pushing who they want to push to try and shift the Overton window to what they want it to look like, rather than what it has been for a long time, which is a meritocracy, which the really good people are getting are falling on the wayside. That's what's good about the Iron Age. We're able to recognize that there are people out there with genuine talent, and they don't have the platform or the eyes on their work that they should. Or there's someone who is, say, mediocre at whether it's art or writing, but having the chance to have an audience and grow that is also part of getting better. It's progress, not perfection. It took me a long time to get pretty decent at writing, and the only way to get better at writing, art, music, is to do more of it. And knowing that there's somebody there who appreciates what you're doing also helps. That positive reinforcement is just as critical.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Because that is the one thing that will kill most artist spirits and all, is the fact that they don't get recognition. Because that's why the sad truth is, for generations and all, artists usually never got recognized until after they passed away. And that was the sad truth. It was not until after they passed and people discover their work, and then they realize how incredible they were and all.
Mm-hmm.
So
same with poets.
So yeah, it's still very true today that happens to a lot of artists, even in this modern history where we have social media and we have the internet. That stuff still happens.
I recently hired an artist for my channel, who I've been working very close with. Ever since I promoted her artwork and everything, I have been getting bombarded by commission artists. They show me their stuff, and the prices, some of them are beyond insane. I don't deny the talents. I don't doubt their talents. They're talented enough as is. But it's like, are we really going to be doing this? And it's like, who am I going to help out here?
Right.
Yeah. Our Twitter is an interesting place as well. But if you go sifting through it, you can find artists that can fit a lot of different price ranges. That's why there's a bit of an inconsistent art style with the art that I shared between my characters. I was trying to get different artists with different styles and see who could work with one. Like the artist that drew Denny was very good with the elves and the soft boys. She also did one of Rags. It's not my favorite though, because you'll notice here, just to share again, I can't zoom in on this much more. That's almost perfect right there. He needs another bang on the other side of his head. I'm going to talk to the cover artist about that. But compare that. She did this version of him. And it's not bad, but the chin's a little too pointed and he's a little too pretty. But it's still good. It's still good, but not exactly the kind of look that I was quite going for with Rags. This was much more closer to what I was looking for. You can see the kind of more squared off jaw.
Yeah,
much more perfect. And I didn't ask her to do Mora because you kind of got to get a certain type of artist to do muscle girls and to do women with an Amazonian stature. And there's artists out there that kind of specialize in that. So that's who I went looking for when I was looking for someone to draw that character. I still need a good one of Cortland. I don't think I got Courts on here. I do got Cortland, but I got to get a different version of him. This is one of the other characters in the book, Cortland. He's a farmhand who's got a chip on his shoulder. He's a very angry dude. I relate to him a lot, and he's got a bit of a vulgar mouth. This was okay. I was not real happy with the way this come out. It's too generic looking, and I've got a different style I want to go for, but that's down the road. But you see what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, it's going to take many trials and errors until you figure it out. I mean, that's just what's going to happen with that anyway.
On the subject of the follower mentality and ripping other people off and gatekeeping and all that, One of the most indicative examples is probably like the Beatles, right?
Yeah.
All they did was what was popular at the time very well, and everybody decided these people are the best because they wanted the meme, basically. And you get a whole genre that popped up after that of people just trying to.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And
everybody chases the trends. After Harry Potter, how many little magical
schools
kids in their teens did we see? You know, after Twilight got big, how many young adult vampire romances did we see?
Yeah.
You know.
And I guess one of the points I was leading into was the music industry is one of the original purveyors of the idea of not hiring based on merit. You know, how many 17-year-old musicians that are just like clearly hired for their appearance do you see? You know what I mean? And that it's that idea, but now it's pervaded everything else in our society. You know what I mean? But with a more simplistic idea, almost just like exclude this one type of person basically and push this idea.
It's not sticking just to the art industry or anything art related art. It's actually happening in the engineer field as well, and the science field as well too, because they're getting more narrow-minded like that as well and all. Because the fact is, I actually have a degree in biological engineer.
Yeah,
that's the reason why I'm starting my career with my art and everything so late in my life and all. Is because I did try to use my math and art skills together for engineer and try to do that field, but I kept having so many issues down the road. I also had life stuff that got in the way as well. And that even later on, I tried to give it a chance again, like the Corps of Engineer. I try applying. They say, oh, yeah, this looks good. Your resume is amazing and all. Let me pass this down. Crickets. And all. And I'm like going, okay, I can't keep chasing this. Everybody keeps saying, why aren't you going to get your engineer field? Why aren't you doing this? Why did you give up on that? I'm like, do I need to keep spinning my wheel until I wear it out before, I get an answer? No, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for a different path and decide to go back to my roots, which is my art skill, because I've been drawing ever since I was 5-year-old, and I picked up a paintbrush in high school. Yes. So I'm like going, I try to go with the traditional college route, engineer degree, and try to do that, and it didn't work. So guess what? I'm leaning back to what I'm really, really good at, and I'm going with that path.
As we all should.
I didn't want to interrupt you. Yes, Ms. Carol. Yes, I have a. She's not a mother, but she is a woman with an Amazonian physique in my book. Val Moore is a veteran adventurer, and I don't know if I'm repeating. I don't know if you heard me when I said it earlier, but no, Resident One. She's not a movie. We're not making cow jokes. The one person in the book that throws a cow remark at her. Well, you'll have to read it and find out.
Yeah, that probably doesn't end well.
No. Mind you, this character is almost 7 feet tall, but not including the horns. She is.
Have you ever been kicked by a hoof?
No, and I'm not going to attempt that particular fate.
It'll kill you.
Oh yeah, it can.
Yeah,
that's why I don't want it to happen.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so I got a couple of we're going to be wrapping this up in just a minute. I got a couple of punishments here. Who else has a sentence for me? We're now at the spousal interference point of the live stream. My wife's kicking me. Does anybody else have something?
Oh yeah, I think we should all think of something.
Maybe re-education camp for bad fashion memes.
All right. Anime Night, you got anything?
Mr. Speaker, it is clear that my client here is guilty of offending the natural norms of everybody here in this great town. Might I suggest 72 hours in a cow shit pen being dumped on by a bunch of cows?
I don't know if I can make that happen, but I'll write it down.
Oh, trust me.
I thought you were gonna give. I thought you were gonna give me an anime to watch or something.
I was gonna say Boku no Pico, but I don't want to traumatize.
We're not doing that. No.
Oh my god!
I don't want to traumatize. I don't want
Jesus
to
Christ.
traumatize you that far, but I was trying to get something going in my head, but I figure I just toss a funny out. So you can write that.
I'll
one
take the
down.
funny. I'll take the funny one.
Okay.
Mr. Pritchard. Yeah, I've been on the internet quite a long time. I'm not unwise to that particular source material. Mr. Pritchard.
The court sentences you to 1 year of exile in the Arctic on RK with the orcs.
Oh, sweet.
It's punishment on the surface, but you'll return to us stronger and more powerful.
I could use the vacation to get stronger. That sounds great.
Yeah.
I saw him coming earlier. He sends me $2. Ultimate kahuna. Give me your best kahuna. Woo. I don't have that much energy. You got the best I can give. They inclined right orc girls. Maybe a little later. Right now we got got a couple of other. Huh? Who? I don't. At least not yet. Nah, there's a couple in the book. We'll again.
There should be.
What in the world? Oh, he saw the skeleton. My wife's trying to signal that it's time to say bye-bye because am I throwing things at me? And no, don't unplug the router. I'm signing off. I promise.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I have a
thank you
video.
all for dropping in on this stream to just laugh about the Twitter ban that I got, and hopefully we'll build back better, a little better than actual Build Back Better does.
Yeah.
And we'll continue on. Maria Hargis, thank you for dropping in. AC Pritchard, Anime Night, thank you guys for coming in to this open invite, and to everyone in the chat. Miss Carol, Animation Overload, Resonant One, Whimsyland, thank you guys. I much appreciate it. We're going to call it a night now, and hopefully the next time I'm streaming, we'll have more of a generic. I won't fuck up the intro. Let me see if I can do the same with the outro. Everyone have a good night. Take care.
You too.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you guys too, by the way.
Nice to meet y'all too.
This concludes our broadcast day. Viewers who found anything about today's stream objectionable are reminded to suck it. Thank you, and God bless America.